Hey everyone, today we're going to use Omnata Sync to connect to Google Sheets, and I'm going to walk through how to create a connection, how to create a sync, and then how you can run and monitor your syncs. So let's start off by creating a connection using OAuth. The way that Omnata works is it uses Snowflake's inbuilt OAuth flows to connect to your GCP environment. We only have one environment for Google Sheets, so we'll just hit no. And we're going to use OAuth as the connection method. You can also connect to Google Sheets via service account, which is what we'll show next. So you need a few details from Google Sheets, and these are your client ID and your client secret. So you just enter them into Omnata, and we will populate a code snippet to run as an account admin over in any worksheet. So you just run that whole code, and it does have multiple queries, so make sure you select the whole thing. And then Omnata will validate whether you've run it correctly. So there's two steps, just grab both of those and run them both. You can run them all together if you want to as well. Now, while you're going through these flows, you can exit the configuration and return, and Omnata will save your progress that you've made. So there's basically 3 code blocks to run. Just make sure you run every query in that, and we will validate it before you progress to the next step. So the final step is where you complete the OAuth flow. So the instructions are in the notes of the query, but we can zoom in. So you run the first query first. So if we just run that one in line, it's going to give us a link, and when we click on that link, we'll get that familiar looking OAuth flow. It'll give us the account to log in, and that's Google taking over the OAuth flow. Now this part is a little fiddly, and we're just going to zoom in, but you need to copy paste everything after the question mark and put it into the next query and run it. And that will complete the OAuth flow. Now this process is the same for any connection using OAuth, whether it's Google Sheets or another app like Zendesk. So there's no further connection details to provide, and Omnata is now going to test that connection, and if it's successful, then you'll be ready to go. So you can view the details of the connection. And we can also run a test. All right, next let's create a connection using a service account. Now this is something that you have to configure on the GCP side, and these initial steps are pretty much the same, so we'll speed them up a little bit. So the steps are the same here. First, you're creating an external access integration. Again, you're running all those queries as an account admin, and we're validating whether it's run properly. Now to create the service account for Google Sheets, you actually have to create a key, and this gives you a key in a JSON file. So if you create a new key and download that, you then just have to copy paste that JSON into the field in Omnata, and that will complete the service account connection creation. Right, so now let's go on to creating a sync. So connection is created. We can see our list of different connections here. And we're going to pull data inbound from our Google Sheets. So I've got a sample data set, which is this sample customer list. It's got about 500 customers in it. And we're going to ingest this into Snowflake. So we just pick the list. The drop-down will show you everything that's available to your user account. If something's not available, it's probably a privilege issue on the Google side. We can see the fields in that just to do a little sanity check. And then we can pick the sync strategy. Now for Google Sheets, you can only do a full refresh, but you can choose whether you want to merge the changes or append. And we're just going to name that, and we're going to schedule that to run once a day. Now let's run the sync and then just show you how you can monitor your different sync jobs. So that's going to run daily, but we're going to kick a run off now by hitting the button. And then when something is run, it'll show up in the run history. So we've jumped ahead a bit and that's already run. And we can see that that's a healthy sync. We've had 500 records processed. If we jump in the history tab, we can see all the different syncs across all of our different connectors. So for Google Sheets, we only got that one from today. And we can check out the total time it ran, the number of records. We can also look at all of our different runs across all our different connectors and all of our different sync configurations. So I'll just narrow down to the connection that I used, and we can see those same details. And Omnata keeps a record level history of what has happened for each sync. So we can actually go and grab one of those records and we can paste it into this record search and find that record. And then we can go and see a full audit history of what's happened to that record.